in the translucent. So here we go, I've got a grey here, and this is going to describe the inner sort of workings of these. When I'm talking about strings of colour, this grey is going to be different from that grey, because it's picking up more paint from below, because I've lost paint from here. So I'll go back to here, and what I'm going to do is, because it's getting away from the light, I'm going to cool the colour with a phthalo blue. Phthalo blue pollutes everything that you put it in. It's very high in its kind of tinting strength. So you've got to be wary about that. I'm using more of the dioxazine purple, and hopefully that's going to give me just a cooler grey, which is going to occur here. And I'm just thinking about shapes at the moment. Some of these shapes will be glazed on top of, some of them will have further shapes created. When you use a rag to pull out some light, using it with absolutely no thinner or using it with no medium is not going to take it right back to the canvas, which I kind of don't want to do. If I want a really abrupt lift of the tone, I can use just a little bit of medium. I would use medium certainly instead of turp to do this, whatever medium that you're working with. And at the moment, it's all soft edges, just like the one down there. It's all soft edges at the moment. This shape is dangerously close to the same weight as that shape, which is not a good idea. So I'm thinking about combining these two shapes within the cloud here to create a bigger entity. These things are important. I might just eat into that to make the shape less obvious. Oh! There's a little bit in there. Oh, it's the bottom of my rag. If I'd done all my detail there, I'd been raging. I like to think of myself as an optimist. That's quite a nice texture that's giving. Optimism is a dangerous thing. Too much optimism. You need optimism and resilience. My paintings are about optimism as well. Some of the concepts within the light coming from darkness and darkness turning to light from top to bottom is about an optimistic approach to things. And and this metaphor of things in the distance being a little softer than the defined foregrounds. And defined foregrounds, it's probably more in my more abstract work. That the foregrounds are always very bright, defined shapes, and I use that as a kind of metaphor for uncertainty in the distance becoming sort of optimistic, bright, defined shapes in the present, and using that distance as that metaphor. I don't tend to bang on about that because I've got a bit of a bugbear about artist statements being a little bit too flowery, you know. But but it does come into play in some of the explanations of my paintings online sometimes. Right, I'll just finish up that painting just now. So the base is there to then go on to try and cover up some of that mess that was made. But the base is there to continue. The lights on top of darks, because that will need to be dry before I start to apply. It won't need to be bone dry, because I want to pick up some of the colour from before, but I want more defined edges in the foreground, so I want a wet on dry technique. And I could get too bogged down as well with this wet on wet technique. Wet on wet technique is made kind of popular by an artist who also works in front of a camera, Bob Ross, which I mentioned before at another demo that I did, saying that it shows great for those who don't kind of know what they're doing. And he's all about formula, and this is what you do, and this is how a painting should start, and this is how a painting should finish, and that's how his painting should start and finish. Every painting is different, and the way that I'm painting this is very different from the way that I'm painting that. And I think that's a good thing, to change up your concepts from one painting to another. I'm going to leave that there, possibly because I just made a mess of it, and then I'm not too worried about that at all. So we've got something which, this little blue pizza, it's fun. One I prepared earlier. Is that still good? Hi, I hope you enjoyed the video of Lochgreen live demo. There will be a seventh part of this just after this time lapse in the studio, and that will cover that second painting that I showed you just at the end of the live tutorial. In the time lapse, you're going to see much closer some of the paint going onto the canvas. The live demonstrations do tend to take more of a talk and more insight into why I do what I do. There's been a little bit of feedback on a couple of the episodes from those that really are expecting me to talk about exactly what to do step by step. I've said this in a previous comment or video, that I don't teach how to paint like me. It's not what I want. I don't want an army of people who want to paint exactly like me. Nobody should paint like me, and nobody should paint exactly the same as anyone else out there. But what I do is I kind of talk about why I'm putting certain marks onto the canvas and the thought processes. I want to help you paint like you better. So I guess that because I keep reiterating there are no rules, that's kind of saying that what I'm doing is not the way to do it, it's the way that I do it. And understanding the concepts about why I choose to paint like I paint might help you understand what concepts to inject into your work.
So yes, you can learn a lot from painting like someone else, but that's not the real learning. The real learning comes when you understand, how to paint like you. And with any luck, some of the feedback and comments are just coming from people who really want YouTube to tell them step by step what to do. It's not like changing a tire. We all paint differently, and we should all paint differently. If you are restricted by the processes and exact processes of what I do, then it will restrict what you do creatively. I hope that explains it, and yeah, my videos will never be a step-by-step, this is how to paint like me, but I hope you still follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and indeed my channel. Thanks for subscribing, and thanks for following. See you in the next video.